Hello, Pamela Spence, medical herbalist here, and these are my clinic notes for the week. So in the west of Scotland where I am, it really does feel like summer is over because we are preparing to send the kids back to school next week. Now, I know if you are watching, as many people are down south of the border, you'll really just be starting your summer holidays, so that must feel a bit strange. But I have to say that we're on the wind down at the end of summer now, ready to send the kids back to school and get a little bit of structure back into life. And it's been a lovely summer holiday. And I noticed that the weather has really changed. So where I come from, and it is actually just in this local area, I think, because I've said it in other areas of Scotland and they've looked at me blankly. We call what we're feeling now in the weather back-endish. And back-endish really just means you're starting to feel the end of the summer. So I notice, for example, that the mornings are not as hot at the beginning of the day. It's cool. Of course, that has to do with the weather systems, but there's this thing that even if it gets hot in the middle of the day, the mornings and the evenings have lost that heat in them. I mean, I am pretty far north in the British Isles, so, you know, it'll not be the same for everybody down south. I know that. But where I am, we're experiencing the change. Lots of wind around right now. You usually get that towards the end of the summer. And I really did notice that the change happened on the weekend that our ancestors would have been celebrating Lammas, as we call it some places, or Lunasa, as they call it others, which is the festival of the harvest. And that was on the 1st of August. And I noticed that the fields around us where there's wheat growing went from being green to being golden, almost. It felt like overnight and exactly on time. And I found that deeply reassuring, given all the climate tragedies that we're seeing unfolding round about us, that there are some rhythms that are still yet continuing as we would expect them and as our ancestors did. And I find great comfort in that. So I was thinking a lot and actually talking to people this week. It's been a lot about rhythms being out of kilter. Now, I talked last time about the fact that this is the summer. Take time now to break your rhythm, break your routine, to gather some resilience for the autumn and the winter, because we don't really know what it's going to be like in terms of COVID and lockdowns and restrictions and illness and all of that. We're not sure, and we haven't had our normal resilience building holidays abroad in the sun or whatever it is you would normally do. And at the same time, I recognise in myself now that I have very much broken my routine. So I've worked 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 1 week on, 1 week off. I was off last week. I'm here this week. I'm off next week. I'm settling my son into school and doing more mummy duties. So there will be no clinic notes next week. And then I'll get back to my routine. And there is a certain sense of peace that I find in a routine. It's been important for me to break it, but I like settling into the autumn and I like getting my routine back. And I'm looking forward to that because I have really broken my routine in the last 8 weeks. So a lot of people here talking about feeling, the word we came up with in clinic day was spangled, just a bit like, what day is it? What's going on? I'm not sure. So those of you down south, you'll not probably be quite at that point yet if you've got kids in school. But certainly up north here, those of us who are parents are feeling like, hang on a minute, what part of summer are we at now? So there is a thing about, if you've broken your routine, peace, getting back into some rhythm. If you've just broken up from that normal rhythm of things, really enjoying the routine break, and like I said, building resilience. The pollen is dropping, people's hay fever seems to be reducing, and so there's not so much more to say about that really. So just being attuned to the changes that the new season's bringing, this late summer season. We're not in autumn yet, but there are changes afoot. So the temperature dropping away a little, and the winds picking up and things drying. So when we get the drying leaves on the trees and things like that. So take your time to enjoy it when you can. Remember to look out of your window, however you can connect with nature. It's really important. And once I have had another week off to settle everyone in the family down into their routines for the rest of the year, I will be back in my routine 2 weeks today. You see what I mean? Just that little bit spangled. Looking forward to getting my routine back now. Take care.